The Broncos have made a move, signing veteran linebacker Kwon Alexander. Welcome on into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, breaking down what Denver did this morning, which is, I wouldn't say a big splash edition, but definitely a noteworthy name, as Kwon Alexander has been a longtime starter in the NFL, 88 starts after being a fourth-round pick by the Buccaneers back in 2015. And surprise, surprise, Sean Peyton goes back to the well a little bit here, signing someone that played under him in New Orleans going back to 2020. So when I saw this news, first thing that popped in my head was, oh, what does this mean for Cody Barton? Which we'll talk about later on. But let's get ourselves at least familiar with Alexander. So the last couple of years, he's been hopping around the NFL. He's been in and out of the game on the field and whatnot, only playing one full season with the Jets, which I thought was a pretty good season. 6 tackles for loss. He had a big forced fumble that year as well. Last year with the Steelers, played about half of the season, made a couple of starts, but he has primarily been a taxi guy going from team to team, sometimes joining midseason as well. His best year, in my opinion, now, albeit a long time ago, was in 2016 with the Bucs. 145 tackles. He led the NFL that year in solo tackles, 3 sacks, an interception, a forced fumble. So he was making some big impact plays from the linebacker position. But like I just said a moment ago, when I saw this signing, the first thing I thought of was, what does this mean for Cody Barton? Because I know there's no issue with Alex Singleton. He is one of the best defenders on this team. He has led this team in tackles time after time and time after time again. And he has just been one of the better all-around linebackers across football. So I wonder if this is hey, we don't really like what we're seeing so far out of Barton, who, by the way, has not technically started a game this year. It's a little bit of a technicality, but Denver has their base defense include 3 linebackers, Alex Singleton in the middle, and then your 2 outside linebackers, which when healthy are Jonathon Cooper and Baron Browning. Last week it was Nik Bonitto with Browning dealing with a foot injury. And then you've got a couple of DBs out there, Moss, Surtain, Jaquan McMillan, and your 2 safeties. So from what I saw out of Barton, which he's played a little over half of the snaps so far, so a pretty good, sample size when it comes to forming an opinion and collecting data points. He's been average. I think the PFF grade's somewhat spot on here, where I don't think he's been bad. I don't think he's at the point where you can't have him on the field, but I definitely don't think he's been blowing us away where we need to get this guy more snaps, more like Tyler Beatty, which I don't want to go down that well again, but I'm more confused than ever when it comes to, is it Beatty or Bidet? Because every single day there appears to be some new video of what to call him. And Mike Kliss today said Beatty called his family, and his family told him it's pronounced Bidet. So I give up. I'm just going to call him Tyler. What's up, T? But I wonder if a shakeup is coming. Are we going to see Kwon Alexander elevated from the practice squad to the active roster and see him on the field as early as this Sunday? Probably not. He's joining the team right now in West Virginia at the Greenbrier Resort, which is where Denver is practicing this week before their matchup with the Jets. So is he coming to shake things up on the defense, or did Sean Payton just decide, hey, we're a little bit banged up at linebacker, like Browning with the foot injury? He's different positions, so to me, I feel like this is hard to, label as just a depth move, but maybe he decided, hey, there's a good player on the street right now, and he can help us out defensively down the road potentially, so let's get him on the practice squad and see how he looks, and if he looks good in practice for a week or two, we can then talk about bringing him up on game day. So for now, it is just a practice squad signing, which 95% of the time, these signings in the season are practice squad signings. That way a team does not have to give up a 53-man roster spot for the player. They can just kind of move on from the bottom man of the totem pole of a practice squad. And if they look good in practice, you get 3 free elevations. And after those 3 free elevations, you have to decide whether you want to put them on your roster or release them. But Kwon Alexander, a somewhat notable name, a Pro Bowler too, by the way, 2017 Pro Bowler, added to the Broncos practice squad. So let me know when it comes to the Denver defense through 3 weeks how you would grade it. 2 safeties in week 1 against the Seahawks. Week 2, they hold Justin Fields and the Steelers to 13 points. And then week 3, they completely shut down Baker and the Bucs at their place. 7 points altogether from Tampa. For me, I'd give Denver's defense a B+. I think the only thing holding it back from an A are just the lack of takeaways, right? Lack of the explosive plays from the defense, which we finally saw the pass rush get home on Sunday in Tampa. So hopefully we can see that become a pattern and not just a one-off. Now, I've got a lot more ground to cover on today's show, including some trade rumors with Zach Wilson to the Miami Dolphins. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to our delicious sponsor today, which is Factor. Fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals and start meeting your wellness goals. Factor has chef-crafted options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Plus, their fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy great tasting, nutritious Factor meals. Crush your wellness goals, like I said, this month with dietitian approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Treat yourself to restaurant quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Head to factormeals.com/BroncosChat50 and use code BroncosChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code BroncosChat50 at factormeals.com/BroncosChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. So let's talk about Zach Wilson for a moment because Adam Schefter was on the Pat McAfee show. They were talking about what the Dolphins are going to do. Tua placed on IR after picking up a concussion on Thursday night against the Bills back in week 2. Did not get an inspiring play out of Skylar Thompson, their backup in Seattle in week 3. Thompson, by the way, got injured in that loss for the Dolphins. So Schefter pointed to a couple of quarterbacks that could get moved to the Dolphins if they're looking for a better short-term plan. And Zach Wilson was brought up. Now, Dan Graziano from ESPN reported this morning. While the Dolphins make plans at quarterback for at least the next 3 weeks without Tua Tagovailoa, a trade for a passer doesn't seem likely at this point. A source said Miami is, quote, not much into it at this time. I'm not actually rushing to trade Zach Wilson just for anything, right? Like, I'm not looking to have a Zach Wilson trade go down just to have some soda money get placed into the locker room like Moneyball. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that the Broncos should be desperately trying to get anything for Wilson because I feel like Zach Wilson is a valuable member of this quarterback room. You've got a rookie starting. His backup, Jarrett Stidham, while he's been in the league for a good amount of years, he only has 4 career starts. Zach Wilson by far has the most on-field experience of all 3 quarterbacks, and I think he is a good member of this roster and of this quarterback room in his role, which is someone who's got a lot of experience that on the sideline can help get Bo Nix ready for the next series based on what the defense threw at him the previous series. So you're probably not going to get much for him at all, and I think there's a good human element to what Zach Wilson brings to this team, and unless you're going to get blown away with an offer you can't refuse, which realistically I think would be a 5th-round draft pick, which you're probably not getting. If you guys recall, Zach Wilson didn't even go for a 5th when he came over from the Jets to the Broncos. I don't think after 3 preseason games, his stock has dramatically improved. Maybe a little bit, but not all that much. So, no, I wouldn't trade Zach Wilson for a 7th where we all know that 7th-round pick is going to end up just being a whole lot of nothing. So, for me, I would pass on trading Wilson. Again, unless you get an offer you can't refuse, like a 5th, I think that would be probably the starting point for me picking up the phone and going, okay, as valuable as he might be on the sideline, like a 5th-round pick is someone that we can actually turn to a good product on the field, whether that's a special teamer or a quality rotation player. So I'm typing N for no, but, you know, it's a democracy, free speech here at Chat Sports, so I want to know what you have to say down below. Now, to wrap up the video, I want to talk about something that has nothing to do with the Broncos at all, but it's kind of the biggest story in the football world this morning, which is the UNLV quarterback, Matthew Sluka, has decided to redshirt this year and basically quit on his team after their 3-0 start. Now, clearly, there are two sides to this story. Here's what Matthew Sluka, by the way, shared on Twitter this morning when explaining his reasoning or announcing his decision, I should say, to stop playing for the undefeated 3-0 UNLV squad that has a decent shot at being the 12th seed in the college football playoff. I mean, if they continue to win and run the table a little bit, there's no reason why they can't be the fifth conference champion to get a seat at the table. But here's where their story gets very interesting because surface level kind of looks like he's quitting on his team, right? Reports came out that he wanted some more NIL money and the school and the football program was not going to give that to him. So he decided, okay, I'm out. Here's what his dad, however, I think told ESPN because it's coming from an ESPN reporter. Told ESPN that his son's agent agreed to an NIL deal with the school back in February, never received payments despite requests, and never asked for any adjustments to the original deal. Quote, we have no idea what the hell happened. So that's what his camp is saying. Here's what clearly the school is feeding this 24/7 reporter. All financial commitments for UNLV quarterback Matthew Sluka were completely met. But after wins against KU and Houston, Sluka's family hired an agent and they collectively feel that his market value has increased. So someone is lying, right? I've got Sluka's dad telling ESPN that they were promised more money than what they have received so far. And I've got the school feeding this piece of information to a 24/7 reporter that all financial obligations were met. They have paid every single cent that he was promised. And after that 3-0 start, which, by the way, they were trash last year, so no one really saw this coming, they have decided we actually would like some more money. As things stand right now, someone's lying. My gut tells me I think the school is telling the truth and the player wanted more money. Maybe that's going to change, and maybe some new information will come out, and this will get turned on its head. But to me, this just kind of screams 3-0 start, an opportunity to cash in on another year of college football with another transfer and another NIL deal. So he used that as leverage to the school going, hey, if you guys want to keep the good times rolling this year, up the NIL money. Otherwise, I'm going to redshirt, and then I'll go somewhere else next year and get more money from them and not have my college football career end this season. I think that is the more likely outcome other than out of the blue, he just decided, not decided, but out of the blue, he made the decision, I'm not going to continue playing anymore. I haven't been paid yet. If that was the case, why would he play to begin with? You know what I mean? Like if maybe after 1 week, you kind of give him some leniency and go, okay, haven't gotten all my money yet, but the season's here. Let's play this first game, and then we'll go. But don't you think after that first game, if you still don't have your money that you were promised and you have not received, you would stop playing at that point and you'd be much more public about it? I'm struggling to believe the Sluka camp here, and I think for a rare time, I'm going to go with the school over the player. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's episode, but I do want to give some shout-outs here to the Blue and Orange Club, Slap Yourself, I Don't Give a Buck, I Don't Give a Duck, and John E. Thank you guys so much for being such loyal and proud supporters of the channel. If you would like to get shout-outs all 2024 season long, send in a $100 super chat if you're able to during our watch parties, and we'll toss your name on screen all year long. Greatly appreciate those of you that go above and beyond to support the channel if you are able to. If you're not, no problem whatsoever. Liking the video is awesome as well.